This is TEDxBath.
This is TEDxBath Countdown.
This is TEDxBath Countdown.
We're here to discuss climate change.
To take action.
To tackle the climate emergency.
This is TEDxBath Countdown.
My name's Stephen Day. I'm one of 3 co-founders of Pure Planet, which is a digital renewable energy company based in Bath. Businesses have got to be a big part of this change to help tackle climate change. And without them, it's very difficult to see how we're going to achieve net zero. The way that we interact with businesses is also quite important. We've got to choose businesses which are doing the right thing. And we should try hard as consumers to avoid businesses that aren't doing the right thing. And by doing that, we can put pressure on businesses to change their policies, to change their practices, and to help shift towards a net zero position. Now, obviously, we can put pressure on businesses, but businesses have got to react as well. Because people work for businesses. Businesses aren't an abstract. It's just a collection of people that are doing something. And the people within the businesses have got to help lead their business, their companies, their organisations to make positive change too, in whatever sector it's in. And it's within a business, I'd say it's not fair, nor is it acceptable just to say it's a management issue. It isn't. Every one of us that works for an organisation as an employee has a duty to help that company, that organisation shift, and not just to rely on some upper manager to make a decision on behalf of that company. We're all still individuals within companies. So I think this question of can we make change is a really interesting one, particularly where we find ourselves at the latter half of, or the latter parts of 2020. We've seen this year the most extraordinary changes right across the world. And although it's been horrific and just such an awful experience for so many to have lived through the pandemic, what we've seen is that societies can make change. Governments can make rapid change when they want to, and they can make really positive decisions. They make mistakes as well, of course. But they have proven, without a shadow of a doubt, that change is absolutely eminently possible. And we as individuals have also done the same. And as companies, every company has had to shift and change the way it's working. And I think that has been a massive demonstration of absolutely not. It's never too late. You can never give up. We've always got to keep moving. And I think this idea of climate change being so massive, so hugely awkward to get your head around, and it can be very depressing if you look at some of the potential consequences that we face as a species. It can be hard, but every single change matters. Every single little thing that you do makes a big difference in time. So it's important to do something now. And personally, I find it's better psychologically and even for my own well-being if I'm doing something. If I feel helpless and just ignoring what's going on around me, it makes me feel worse. So personally, I like to try and do something, because in the doing something, you feel a little bit more positive. So I think it's important to try. Green energy is such a pivotal part of our future. It's quite an exciting part of our future in so many ways as well. If you think about what's happened with the Industrial Revolution and the adoption of fossil fuel burning for power and for all of the things that we take for granted today, without that power we don't make stuff, we don't travel, all of those things. We've seen a massive, massive shift in the CO2 levels in the atmosphere. We're at record levels now, for just over 410 parts per million of CO2 molecules in the atmosphere relative to other components in air. And as a species, we've never faced that before. This is unprecedented. So humans are breathing this stuff in now. It's here. We're taking this in a way that we've never done before as a species. And fossil fuels has caused that. So by getting rid of that over time, obviously it's not going to happen immediately, we can make a big difference to the way the atmosphere is working, to the way the greenhouse gas effect works, and also to what we breathe. And that's not just from the CO2 I'm talking about, but from other pollutants that we see in the atmosphere. Green energy makes the world cleaner. It makes it healthier. And it makes it safer. So I think green energy is so important for the future, we can't ignore it. So one of the things that often causes me to scratch my head a little bit as a provider of renewable energy in the UK is something which happens every now and again. The government produces a survey and it says the public's attitude towards green energy is really, really positive and favourable. And about 4 in 5 of us say, when we're asked in surveys, oh yes, renewable energy is a great thing, we should all do it. Yet the percentage of us that have actually made that choice for our homes and the way that we live is really small at the moment, and is actually almost the opposite way around. It's increasing to be on the positive side, but there is a mismatch between what we say we'll do or we favour and what we actually do. So that's one of the things that frustrates me, because it is so easy to change your energy supplier. It takes a couple of minutes, and the more people that choose companies like Pure Planet and the many others now that are offering renewable energy, that would be fantastic, because it sends a massive signal to the government to put more incentive and more wherewithal, more policy into bringing out renewables, to help the generators build more renewables faster, and that would be a huge signal. So if more members of the public said, right, I'm going to switch my energy supplier today and I'm going to choose a renewable energy supplier, that would be brilliant. And there's a lot of choice. It's not a difficult thing to do. It takes minutes. What's preventing change? We do. We all do. It's so hard to make change as individuals. We all know that. I need to go on a diet, and it's so hard. I need to exercise more, and it's really hard. And I was meant to do that this morning, and I didn't. So making change as individuals is just so tough. But when we make change, we know we can do it. So we've just got to reassure ourselves a little bit more that we can actually take control and do the things that we need to do. So, I'm as guilty as everybody. I don't make changes as much as I should, but we can do it. So I think as individuals, it's really important to recognise that change happens from within. But I think there's a lot more to it than that. Obviously, we need, the system in many ways is stacked against us. It's really, really tough to make the positive changes that sometimes we want to if the system doesn't work for you and if policy favours the opposite of what you're trying to do. So change needs to happen across the board, and we need to have government which facilitates it and is really positive and consistent for good climate solving action change, and we need companies and organisations to play a part as well. So it happens right across the board in order to get it working. If it doesn't, it's difficult. The interesting thing that caught my attention just last week was Sir David Attenborough joining Instagram, and he said solving climate change is now a communications issue. It's not a science issue. It's not for somebody like him who's been working in the natural world and filming it so beautifully for us all these years. It's not so much about the science anymore, because that's beyond dispute. We know the problems and we know the solutions to the problems. The shift that we need is through learning. We all need to understand more about the implications of our choices and the implications of not taking the right choices. So having a good education, and I don't mean school and university in that sense, knowing is what's important. Understanding what's important is the most important thing. So learning is absolutely pivotal to get this right for all of us.